Hi you guys, so this is what we're going to do with art from now on, is we're going to do at-home activities, and so I'm going to record myself every day doing a different project, and I will give you guys all of the instructions. If there's something that you really want to do and you don't have materials at home for it, if you email your teacher, or you can also email me, but it might be a little bit better if you go through your homeroom teacher. I will work with them and try to figure out a way to get materials to you at your house so that you can participate. But yeah, we'll just go from there. Today, the first thing I'm going to show you guys how to do is these little weaving projects, and so I'll go through the steps on that. If you are at Moss, you probably took home an art packet that already has all the things that you need. I still have some of those supplies, so if you did not get one, or if you're at Taylorsville, you definitely didn't get one and you want one, just tell your teacher and I will get those to you. Okay, so I'm just going to be doing this project on my living room floor. What you need for the loom, for the weaving project, so this is the finished product, and these are really great because you can do it with just a piece of cardboard and some string and some yarn. And if you don't have skinnier string like this, that's okay. You can use just a piece of yarn to do the loom part, and I will show you that. So first of all, I'm gonna cut little slits into my board, and you want an even number, and you want the same number on the bottom as you have on the top. So let's see, I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'm going to do 10 on the other side. Okay, and then with your string, I'm just going to start at the top, and I am going to pull this string through that first slit like this. So these, we're going to be pulling these strings up and down a little bit, so you don't want to have them too tight or it's going to be hard for you to weave them. But I'm going to come straight down like this. I'm going to go through this bottom one, and then I'm just going to go, I'm not going to go across like this. I'm just going to go back into the next slot over. I might even leave a little bit of extra string like that. And then I'm going to go up. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go over across the back and come back down in the front. Hop over to this one on the back, the next one, and then go over the front again. And I'm just going to do this until I have this string kind of laid out across the whole board. And remember, you don't want to pull it too tight. I like how the string changes color. It's kind of fun. Okay, and I have that last one like that. Okay, so that is just going to be your simple little loom. These, you can see these strings aren't too tight. That's important. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my first color, and I'm not going to use all of this. That's a lot of yarn. So I'm actually just going to pull off a little bit and cut it. And I'm just going to start with this much in the beginning. And what you want to do is you want to take your string and you want to tie it to the bottom of the leftmost skinny string. Call it skinny string so it's different. I'll call this other stuff yarn. How about that? Just like that. So I just tied a knot so that it's gonna stay there. And now what we're gonna do is the weaving part. So for weaving, I'm gonna start with this string. I'm gonna go under this first string like this, and over the next string, and under the next string, and over. So the whole time you're going under, over, under, over. And I'm gonna do that till I get all the way across to the other end. And then I'm gonna pull that all the way through like this. When you pull your string through, you don't wanna pull it too tight. So you just kind of you want to pull it through, but if you pull it too tight, you're going to be pulling all of your other loom strings different directions. I need to put that in more. There we go. So then once you've done that, you've gone across, you're going to go back this direction now. And with this direction, if you look closely, you can see, oh, here, let's see if I can get this. So if you look closely, you can see that my string has gone under this one and over this one and then under this one. So now what I'm gonna do is my string's gonna go over, under, under. So it switches on the way back. And so I'm just gonna come over this first string now and then under this one. Over, under, over, under. Okay. So I'm going to do that all the way across. And I'm going to pull it all the way through. And like I said, you don't want to pull it so hard that you're pulling the strings. See how this one's bending because I'm pulling too hard? You want your up and down strings to stay straight up and down. So don't pull too hard. I'm going to push that down with my fingers. And I'm going to go back the other way. And this is why this is such a good at-home project, is it does take a while to get the weaving all the way finished, so it will keep you entertained for a while. It's a super fun thing to play with. So I'm gonna work on this for a little bit and then I'll check back with you guys for the next instructions, okay? Okay, so I've moved all of that yarn that I first cut through the loom. So now it looks like this. This is about how far that yarn got me. As you guys are working, don't forget to push down the yarn, okay? Because you want to kind of push it and squish it towards the bottom because that's going to make your weaving look better. Notice how where the yarn is, you can't really see these strings anymore. If you can still see the strings, you need to either push your yarn down more, or if you can see like every other string all the way through, that means that you're not alternating. So remember, you need to alternate. And when I say, what I mean when I say that is every time I move my yarn through this direction, it's gonna go over this string and this string. It's gonna go over this one. It should go over every other one. When I come back this direction, it should be going underneath all of those strings that I went over going this way. Okay, so you should always be switching off. Every time you pass a string, if you went over it last time, you should go under it the next time. Okay, and that's how you get this weaving pattern. So once you're done with your first color, you can pick what you want your second color to be. And this is where it gets kind of fun because you can start kind of deciding what you want your weaving to look like, if you want it to have pattern or if you want it to just have different blocks of color. I'm gonna tie on a little brown piece of yarn next, and I purposely made this one a little bit shorter because I want this one to be a skinnier color. And so now I'm gonna just keep weaving with the brown string. I'm just gonna keep going right where I left off. And so you can see I'm just kind of going under one string at a time, and then I'm gonna pull it all the way through, and you kind of just have to gently pull that knot through until you get to a point where it's just buried in your weaving and you move past it, which is gonna be on this one for me. So I'm gonna go back this way. So now you can see this is going to start to make a brown stripe in my little miniature blanket that I'm making. And then once I am done with the brown string, I just keep going. I'm just going to add a new color, or I could even go back to green. I can add a new color to my, tie it in a knot on the end of the brown and just keep going. I'm gonna remind you guys one more time, you wanna make sure that you're not pulling your strings, the yarn, too tightly every time you pull it through. Let me show you what that looks like. So if I pull this too hard, Can you see how that pulls the string over? It's gonna make it so that your blanket gets like really, really tight and skinny in the middle and then gets bigger again. And we don't want that. We want our blanket to be the same thickness all the way across. So you just always wanna make sure that you're not pulling the yarn so tightly that it is moving your strings. So once again, you just wanna make sure those strings stay straight up and down, okay? All right, you guys, so I've added some yellow and then some brown again, and I'm going to now add some blue. So what I'm thinking is I think I'm gonna do like a little brown, yellow, little brown, blue, little brown, darker blue, and we'll just see what happens. So that's my plan. You don't have to have a pattern if you don't want to. You can just use all of your colors or not use all of your colors. It is totally up to you because you're the artist, and that's what makes art so fun, is that you are the boss. Okay, you guys, I really want to show you this because this is really important. So it looks like I'm almost done because I'm close to the top, but you want to remember to be pushing your yarn down like this and really, really squishing it together. So see how that like made mine, it's like halfway where it was before I did that. So I pushed it down a lot. And if you love weaving, that's great news, because look at how much more space I have now to keep going. And if you don't love weaving, it's probably not great news, but you should do it anyway so that you're happy with your work when you're done, because it's gonna make it look a lot better, okay? So I'm gonna just keep adding different color strings and keep making my pattern. So when you feel like you are just done with this and you're close to the top, you've pressed these down a lot. You can see that I haven't really compressed this last green color, but I'll get to that in the last step. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tie the end of this string. Actually, I have enough to pass through one more time. I'm gonna do a quick one more row. And then when I get to the end, I'm gonna tie my string. Sorry, I'm gonna tie my yarn on to the last string. So let me get there so I can show you how to do that. Really just the same way that we tied it the first time. So I'm gonna go pull this through all the way, press it down, and then I'm gonna kind of just do like a little rainbow like that, kind of like you're tying your shoes, how you go underneath and then underneath the rainbow like this to make a little loop, and that's gonna make a knot. I'm gonna do that twice so that it stays. So I'm gonna do a rainbow, go underneath the string, and then up through the rainbow like that. And I'm gonna pull this tight. Okay, now we gotta get it off the loom. So I usually like to turn it upside down. This is just how I do it. And push all of this down to the other end so that you kind of have to accordion it like that. So then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my scissors. You just wanna take off one side at a time. Okay, so I'm gonna take my scissors and I'm gonna snip these strings like this. And if you take good care of your cardboard and you want to do another project, you can use it again. So I'm going to take those strings off, and then I'm going to tie two that are next to each other together. And I'm just going to do that by doing a double knot. So I'm going to wrap that around and pull, and wrap it around again, and pull. Whoops, I didn't do a very good job on that. Let's try again. Like that, okay? And you just have to do that. And I would just pull them off one at a time because the loom is still kind of holding your project together. So if you pull them all off without tying the knots, it can kind of start to fall apart. So see how I'm just pulling off. Now I'm pulling these next two out, and then I'm going to tie these Guys, I'm having a hard time tying knots on film. Okay, it's kind of stressful. Pressure is on. Okay. So I've done that one. I'm gonna pull these ones out. It'd be helpful if I hold it closer to my face. There we go. So that one's tied. Then I'm gonna pull this one out. Okay, so that's one side. So because I tied all of those end strings, now it's gonna hold the yarn in the right spot, so it's not gonna unravel. Now, I just wanna, before I do the other side, you kind of just wanna try to push that yarn down as much as you can, because the longer these strings are, the easier it's gonna be to tie your knots. So now I'm gonna do the same thing where I cut these. And I'm just gonna tie them one at a time again, but you guys have already seen that step. Now that I have both of the sides tied, I am going to just kind of trim these big extra pieces of yarn in the back. However, this is gonna be the part that's showing all of the knots and the extra string is gonna be the back side, and we'll kind of display the other side as our project, because that's going to be the prettier side. Let's see. Get these ones. Boop. And that guy. Boop. And so now, this is the pretty side. It's all finished. And I still have a bunch of extra yarn, so I could even just do another one and try to do a different design. If you have a sibling or a neighbor, you could trade with them and get new colors. And if you guys just send me a picture of them, I'll post them into our student gallery. So that'd be awesome. I'd love to see what you guys are up to. Thanks for watching that video, you guys. If you had any questions or if there was something that I wasn't very clear on, you can ask me in the comments and I will go through and I'll answer those. Also on the resources page, I'm going to put some links to different things that you can look at if you're really interested in weaving and want more information. So I'll put some articles. I also found some cool videos on YouTube where this one girl specifically kind of shows you how to build a loom, which you guys would have to do it with a parent if you did that with an adult, because she does use power tools, but it is really simple to make. And so if it's something that you have the resources and the desire to do that, I'm going to show you that so that you can see that, as well as she does a few different kind of stitches that you can incorporate and just different ways to weave to make different designs. And so that's a really cool resource if you want to expand on what we've learned today. Thanks.